Welcome back. So, if you've been following along, you're probably pretty comfortable with Docker and, the absolute magic of containers. You know exactly how to package an app and get it up and running. But what happens when you need to take that to the next level? When you have to tackle massive real-world scaling? Today, we are going to understand this topic inside and out. We're breaking down Kubernetes' entire architecture using a real-life example that is going to make the whole thing incredibly easy to visualize.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this scenario for a second. If you only have, say, 2 or 4 containers running, it's a total breeze. You can manage them manually, no complex systems needed. But what happens when you scale up to thousands of containers? Suddenly, you're facing absolute container chaos. You might urgently need scaling because of a massive traffic spike rate. You absolutely need load balancing. And let's be real, invariably, things are going to go wrong. A pod fails, an entire node crashes. You literally cannot sit there manually restarting containers at 3 a.m. You need a system that just steps in and handles it all automatically. And to solve that chaos, we need what's called an orchestration tool. Whenever you read up on Kubernetes, you're going to see this exact term everywhere. But what does orchestration actually mean in this context? Well, think of a massive musical concert. You've got musicians playing the violin, the guitar, the drums. If they all just played whatever they wanted whenever they wanted, it would be pure noise. But there's one person, the master conductor, standing right at the front, giving instructions, keeping everyone in perfect harmony. Kubernetes is basically the ultimate orchestration tool. It's that master conductor for your containers. It automatically manages, scales, and maintains your applications so everything runs flawlessly, completely eliminating that disruptive noise. To really wrap our heads around how this conductor operates, we're going to look at Kubernetes architecture through a slightly different lens today, a luxurious 5-star hotel. In any Kubernetes cluster, you essentially have 2 main components at play. You've got the master node and you've got the worker nodes. The master node, that's your hotel management. They're the decision makers, the orchestrators, the ones directing the entire show from the top down. The worker nodes, on the other hand, are the actual hotel rooms and the execution staff. They're the ones doing the heavy lifting on the ground, where the actual guests, which in our case are the applications and the business logic, actually reside. Section 1. Checking in. The master node. We're going to frame this as a day in the life of a VIP deployment request checking in at our hotel. Let's move to and see how this builds. When a client wants to deploy a brand new app, our VIP guest, they need resources. This deployment request checks in and goes through 3 crucial chronological steps in the master node. First the API server, then etcd, and finally the scheduler. Let's break down exactly who these critical staff members are on this journey. Step 1 brings us straight to the API server. Think of this as the friendly but kinda strict front desk receptionist at our hotel. Whether a client sends a request through a sleek user interface or types it out in a command line interface, this receptionist is the absolute entry point. You walk in, you say, hey, I need a room. The API server takes that request and immediately checks if it's actually valid. It double-checks your syntax, makes sure you have the right permissions to even be there, and only then does it start the process. Okay, so once the receptionist confirms your request is completely valid, they need to figure out if there's actually a room available for you, right? This brings us to step 2. etcd. Now, etcd is a highly reliable key-value database. In our hotel metaphor, this is the master register. It's the central computer system. It holds all the crucial information about the entire cluster state. It knows how many nodes are running, which ones are sitting empty, and exactly what resources are available. The front desk checks this etcd database to get a complete picture of availability across our massive 5-star property. Now that we know what's available, someone actually has to make the final call on where you're going to stay. Enter the scheduler, our hotel manager. The manager looks at your specific needs. Maybe you need a massive suite with extra CPU, or maybe just a standard room with a specific amount of memory. The scheduler evaluates those exact requirements against the available space shown in etcd and then assigns the absolute optimal room for your stay. And crucially, once that decision is made, the manager immediately updates the etcd register so there are absolutely no double bookings. Section 2. Finding your room, the worker node. Now that the master node has officially assigned the room, we're going to head over to where the real action happens. But before we meet the execution staff on this floor, we really need to define exactly what your room is. In Kubernetes, this is called a pod. Anchor this firmly in your mind. The pod is the smallest deployable computing unit in the entire architecture. If our cluster is the hotel, the pod is the actual physical hotel room that's been allocated for you. This is exactly where your container, our VIP guest, is going to unpack and reside. Now, a single pod might hold just one guest, Or, depending on the setup, it might hold multiple containers all sharing that exact same space. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the kubelet. The kubelet is basically an agent that runs on every single worker node, acting as our dedicated room service agent. So when the API server sends down that finalized request saying, hey, guest assigned to room 501, the kubelet just jumps right into action. It takes that API request and ensures the room, the pod, is perfectly prepared, clean, and stocked with all the necessary CPU and memory resources you asked for. It literally escorts the guest to the room and sets the whole thing out. And inside that perfectly prepared room, we have the container runtime. This is the underlying software, something that Docker, which we talked about in a previous explainer. This runtime is what's actually responsible for executing and running the container inside the pod. It strictly follows direct instructions from the kubelet on when to start, stop, or pause the container. It basically ensures the guest's actual stay inside that room goes exactly as planned. Section 3, keeping the peace. Networking and crisis management. Because let's think about it. What happens when guests in different rooms need to talk to each other? Or worse, what happens if a fire breaks out in the hotel? Well, our guests might be checked in and totally comfortable, but to handle that communication between rooms, we have Kube Proxy. Imagine Kube Proxy as this highly advanced hotel-wide walkie-talkie or internal phone system. It handles all the networking for the node. So if a guest in pod A desperately needs to send data to a guest way over in pod B, Kube Proxy ensures those communication lanes are open, secure, and routing correctly, allowing pods in entirely different rooms to seamlessly communicate across the property. But Kube Proxy isn't just about walkie-talkies. It's also responsible for load balancing. And let's be honest here, you really wouldn't want a situation where 3 very annoyed guests are crammed into one tiny little single room while the massive luxurious suite right next door is just sitting there completely empty, right? That would be a terrible hotel experience. Kube Proxy monitors the network traffic and ensures that the workload is distributed evenly and logically across all the pods, maintaining total efficiency and making sure no single room ever gets overwhelmed. And then, for those true emergencies, we have to control manager. Look, no matter how 5-star a hotel is, things inevitably go wrong. This is our elite crisis management team. If a pod suddenly crashes, if a door gets stuck, or if an entire node just goes completely offline, like a sudden power outage on an entire floor, the control manager instantly swoops in. It detects the failure and takes immediate operational steps, like replicating the failed pod and seamlessly shifting the guest to a brand new healthy room. The ultimate goal, ensuring the customer stays completely happy, no matter what's happening behind the scenes. So the crucial point here is understanding this whole concept of desired state. The control manager's entire reason for existing is to ensure that the actual state of our hotel perfectly matches the desired state. If the desired state is that our guest is happy, safe, and their app is running perfectly, but the actual state is that their pod just crashed, the control manager works tirelessly to fix that mismatch. It is literally obsessed with maintaining that perfect 5-star rating and ensuring your cluster runs exactly as you intended. And this brilliantly illustrates the entire architecture coming together as one massive unified team. We've got the API server acting as our strict but helpful reception, etcd as the highly reliable hotel register, and the scheduler making those critical managerial room assignments. Then, down on the floor, the kubelet acts as our dedicated room service, while Kube Proxy ensures everyone can communicate via our walkie-talkie network. And of course, all of this happens while the control manager stands by as the ultimate crisis team. Together, this entire master and worker node relationship orchestrates absolutely perfectly. By visualizing this 5-star hotel, an architecture that initially looks incredibly, maybe even intimidatingly complex, suddenly becomes totally accessible, right? Now that we know exactly how thousands of containers can be seamlessly managed, perfectly scaled, and instantly rescued from failure, it leaves us with one final exciting question. With your cluster perfectly orchestrated and ready to scale effortlessly, what massive idea will you deploy next? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.